Hey guys, it's KD and I am excited. You saw just a few days ago, if you watched the video where I was asking people how I was going to clear, well, it's cleared. I was trying to figure out if I should use a sling blade or a machete or a weed whacker. I didn't know what to do. So Brian decided that he was interested in getting this creek running, which he did an amazing job. As you can see, the creek is starting to run. And it sounds awesome. And when he did that, he actually cleared that part, which gave me a way to get up to the bank to start clearing that. And believe it or not, all I used was some simple hedge clippers. And it took me 4 hours to complete this. Now, this was all grown in. If you haven't seen the video, it says something like, I was asking for advice on what kind of tool to use. So it says something like sling blade, machete, scythe, or something else. But I didn't get too many answers on that, so God worked it out, because Brian started what he was interested in, which led me to start figuring out how to do my part. And I hope you can see now, we have a place for a driveway. A lot of that brush that you see is all like piled on top, so it's even flatter than it looks. Right here there's a little gully for drainage, so we're going to need to put a culvert there. It goes straight across to there, which is only about 4 feet up, and then it'll just go all the way up to that dark spot you see there. And at that dark spot we're going to do another culvert, and I'm going to walk up, and that's going to go across. It's going to be hard for me to get up here, so bear with me. I'm going around the side here to get up the path. And that culvert will go over to a fairly flat area on the other side. And we're going to get there in just a few minutes. And we'll have to do a little bit digging out, but as we fill all this in with gravel, we'll probably need a few layers of gravel. And I don't know about all this brush, like I don't know if it's really necessary to pull it out and burn it all. I wonder if you could just pour the gravel on top. I could be wrong, but if anybody thinks that's a bad idea, let me know. But I don't see why we couldn't just do that and slowly make our way up, make our road, and then when we get to the top, there's going to be a little turnaround spot up there where that dark spot is, and it'll go right over the culvert into what looks like the forest over there to a little flat spot. And again, I'm walking through all of this. As you'll see, there's lots of places where you have these dead tree stumps, so under there too you'll see some of those. So it's not totally even right now, so I have to be careful not only to stay level, but also not to end up sinking into a tree stump. I was really concerned about the snakes when I started this, but I didn't see any, thankfully. Brian did see a couple while he was out here, but I had snake boots on anyway, so I was fine, which I should have probably kept on, because now I just have my regular boots. But I think if there were snakes around, I scared them away by now. Alright, so almost there. I don't know how many feet that was, but it's not a very long driveway actually, because I just walked it in whatever time that was, a couple minutes. And right here, there is actually some big tree stumps, which is kind of like, it's almost like God put it right there to say this is where your culvert's going to go. Underneath there, you can actually see the water flowing. Well, you can't now because I have all these bushes that I cut on top of it, but I could see the water flowing under there, and we could actually put the culvert right in there. We're going to have to get rid of all these logs. I'm thinking we might be able to chop some of it just with a axe. And you can see how the creek will open up and go down once we get all this cleared out. But straight across here, if you can see, again, there's only about a 4-foot slope, and then there's a fairly flat spot right there. And that's where we're going to put a driveway. And I mean like a parking spot, because the driveway will go up and then we'll have our parking spot right there. And I'm going to walk up to it. This is going to be very tricky because these logs are iffy around here. So if I get off angle here, bear with me. I don't want to fall through. This one seems to be pretty steady. I gotta have another hand, so I'm gonna bend down here. There we go. And step down, step up. This stump right here is sort of like my boundary marker for the driveway. The flat spot is right behind it, so we're gonna just have to get rid of that stump. There's not a lot of clearing to do. There's a couple thin trees here. I actually already cut the branches off with the clippers. That big stack of trees right there can stay. Where is it? I'm over here now. Over there, yeah, that big stack of trees can stay, and that will kind of be the boundary of where the turnaround spot will be up here. It's real flat right here, but once we get the culvert over and get to this flat spot, we can keep going and dig out this part that is a little bit angled here. So it'll be a step-by-step process, but all this right here is fairly flat and just a little bit digging out, and we'll have a nice big turnaround spot here. And I'm gonna keep walking because you'll see that we're coming from the other side of the house, which just seems like a jungle, but we are gonna actually end up right near the boundary marker, which is right there. That's the boundary marker for our house. So it's perfect. See, like, it's very hard to envision this. And now you look up here, it's all slopey and crazy, and people would think, how you get a driveway in here? But I'll go back down from the way I came. So we're on our flat spot where the turnaround spot will be. And get rid of this stump. Cross over our culvert, which obviously will be filled in with dirt and become a road. And then, coming from a different angle, we'll look down the driveway. And I think you can clearly see. So, this clearing took me 4 hours with a simple pair of hedge trimmers. So, for anyone out there who just gets overwhelmed with things and sees a big mess, like a jungle in their life, and figures there's no way out, it's a lot simpler than we think sometimes. There we are. Nice clear path right down to the road. I'm going to actually count my feet now and see how far this is, because I don't even think it's that far. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whew, a little slippery, 90, 2, I'm going to slope down here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 93, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so right there's 30 feet, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So it's less than 40 feet to the culvert where the ditch is here. So, short driveway. I think I ran out.